Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We have a lot of news to get into for you today, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Tap the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and share it with your friends. Now, here is the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
Happy Monday, guys. It's your girl, Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Britt. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
So, you guys, this weekend, obviously, we had a lot of stuff happen. Games come back. Chadwick Boseman passed away, which was obviously very sad. Rest in peace to him. And also legendary Georgetown basketball coach John Thompson, who became the first Black head coach to win an NCAA title in 1984, passed away. He was 78 years old. He leaves behind an incredible legacy, one that includes titles and championships, lots of basketball success, but he also paved the way for many other minority coaches during his career as the head of Georgetown basketball. So he made such a lasting impact. He mentored many players that we know today, including Allen Iverson, and AI posted a tribute to the late coach on his Instagram. He posted a series of photos, including this one that you can see right now. His caption said, quote, "Thanks for saving my life, coach. I'm going to miss you, but I'm sure that you were looking down on us with a big smile. I would give anything just for one more phone call from you. We would talk about everything except basketball. May you always rest in paradise where there is no pain or suffering. I will always see your face in my mind, hoping that I made you proud." So before Allen Iverson's senior year in high school, he spent 4 months in jail for an altercation that he had. And in 2016, he fought back tears when he recounted how John gave him a chance when many had given up on him. So it was a very touching and emotional tribute. And I just would like to say rest in peace to John, and send my love and condolences to his friends, his family, everybody who was impacted by him. Britt, I want to hand it over to you. I know you had something that you'd like to add, so please share with us.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, this is such a huge loss for, like, the basketball world. Like, I know he hasn't coached in about 20 years now, but he literally, like, made such an impact on players way past them playing. Like, I mean, he had 4 guys that ended up being in the Hall of Fame, including AI and I think Mutombo and your guy, Patrick Ewing, and Alonzo Mourning and stuff. He made, and everybody that I know that has, like, talked about him has been, like, it wasn't basketball, you know, it was all the other stuff that he was able to do as a coach and kind of like just mold them into men and, you know, being these great guys that end up doing amazing things in the world. So like it's a huge loss. It really is. You know, I know he's 78 and stuff like that, but really it doesn't matter your age. It matters your impact in your life. And I think he like impacted so many people and was still doing that up until he passed away. So huge loss for the basketball world. Big influence on a lot of people.
Yeah, he really did make such an impact, and I love what you just said, Britt, about it. It's not how old you are, but it's about the impact that you made, and he obviously was such a prominent figure in the basketball world, and he's going to be missed. He's really going to be missed. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to add before I move on?
Yeah, I liked a quote that he made. It was several years ago when he was talking about being the first Black coach to win an NCAA championship. And he said, it's great. It's an honor. It's an honor to be the first Black person to do that. And I'm proud of that. He's like, but don't make no mistake. It's not because other Black people aren't intelligent enough to do so. I was just the one who got the opportunity. So I liked how he, kind of acknowledged the elephant in the room. Like, yeah, I might be the first, but don't get it twisted. It's because of discrimination, not because, I'm so much different than anybody else. So he really just kind of had this strong presence plus a humbling presence at the same time. So, like Britt said, it's definitely a huge loss to the basketball world.
Yeah.
So really quickly, before we get into the first story, is there a particular moment or anything that you'd like to shed some light on before we move on?
Are you talking? I'm so sorry, you cut off. I didn't hear, but yeah, if you're talking to me, yeah, of course. Like Britt and Jackie said, his impact was huge on the basketball world. Of course, I learned about him because Patrick Ewing becoming Nick, and understanding who he was as I grew up, who he was in college for Georgetown, and what Patrick Ewing and him were able to do in 1984. And Patrick Ewing has said several times that he's the reason why he got into coaching after playing basketball. He thought he was going to, play basketball, be done, and just hang out with his family. But he had such a big impact on his entire life and what he did for Patrick Ewing, more than just basketball, but being what he considers a father figure. That's why he was a coach like he was in the NBA, and now the coach of Georgetown, just like he was. So, he was very impactful in so many ways than just basketball. So it's, it was really rough to hear that news on top of just everything that was just going on this weekend, man.
Yeah, rough weekend.
It was a very, very rough weekend. And actually, speaking of rough weekends, LeBron opened up about some of the struggles that he's faced inside the bubble. He said that life has been tough enough that he's actually thought about leaving. And we know that the bubble has not been easy for athletes. They're away from their families. They've had to abandon their normal daily lives, their routines. They're in a new place. They can't leave. I mean, there are many reasons why living in the bubble would not be, all sparkles and rainbows and butterflies. So LeBron actually admitted that he's considered leaving. He said, quote, "I've had numerous nights and days thinking about leaving the bubble. I think everyone has. I don't think it's not one person that says I've got to get the hell out of here. It probably crosses my mind about once a day." So they've been in the bubble for 50 days, and that's obviously going to start making you feel a little bit of cabin fever. Luckily, families and other limited guests will be allowed to visit starting in the second round. So hopefully that helps these players find a little bit of stability and normalcy while they're still working through these games. Jaylen Brown also revealed how he overheard Mason Plumlee giving himself words of affirmation in the elevator. I have a clip that I want to play for you guys from this moment. So Leo, if you could throw that up there for us.
Mason Plumlee was in the elevator. I think he was getting ready to go to practice, and he was giving himself words of affirmations like, "I want to go to practice. I love basketball. Like, I'm happy to be here." And I was like, man, like everybody's kind of going through that same thing.
So I kind of love this because I'm a big believer in words of affirmation, but it just goes to show how, he's in the elevator on his way to practice and he's having to sit there and say, okay, I love basketball. I'm here for a reason. So, I mean, it shows that it's kind of taking a toll on them emotionally. And this obviously comes after Paul George admitted that he was in a dark place. We talked about this last week, but just to refresh you guys, he said that the bubble got the best of me. I was in a dark place. I checked out. It was difficult, but shout out to the people who stood behind me, the positivity, my family, my friends, everybody. Thank you to everybody that reached out. I was just in a bad place. So, I mean, I don't blame these guys for feeling this way at all. It would be difficult, and I respect and admire them for powering through it and for finding ways to deal with it. Jackie, I want to go to you first. Does it surprise you to hear that LeBron actually thinks about leaving at least once a day?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me that anybody's thinking about that. I mean, when you think about when we first went into the lockdown, I mean, people who could get out and go to the store were losing their damn mind and were protesting and saying, "You got to let me out. Let me go get a haircut." And these are people, that still had all the comforts of home. They still had their families around. It is tough. It's tough to be isolated in that way. I know we all said that, LeBron doesn't want to play, without fans. I think that's a simplistic way of looking at it. I think that human interaction is definitely a thing. And when you're looking at the same people day in and day out, it becomes, more prison-like. And I've said that before. This is definitely like a prison-like setting, even though this would be like where Martha Stewart went to prison, where they have all the cool stuff to play with, but it's definitely a Martha Stewart type prison, but Martha Stewart still wanted out, so I'm not surprised at this by any means. And I get those words of affirmation, saying, okay, I can do this. You do have to give yourself a pep talk. So I'm glad to hear that all of them are kind of being open and honest about the situation. And then, because I've been saying that I think the bubble is the ideal way to go if we're trying to fight this virus, but you do overlook these downsides to it. So I'm glad that everyone is being open and honest about how hard it is. But like you said, the second round is coming, family is coming. I think everyone will be okay in a little bit.
Yeah. Britt, I want to go to you for my next question. When the NBA did decide to pursue the bubble, do you feel they underestimated the impact it would have on players' mental health, or do you think that they knew all along it was going to be challenging?
I think they knew it was going to be challenging because prior to that, everybody had to quarantine for a while. So everybody kind of experienced some aspect of we're just in the house. And if you don't live in a house with family or friends like me, like you're by yourself. And I'm sure there were people that were in the NBA in those situations too. And then even the guys early on, like I remember when Marcus Smart got COVID and he is like a single guy and doesn't really have those like people around him, so he was in his place by himself, you know. So I think they kind of knew in a sense what it was going to be, and there were going to be challenges. And then obviously just the added stuff of now again somebody else getting, you know, shot by the police and all of this kind of stuff. I think they probably didn't think it was gonna, okay, we're not gonna have George Floyd all over again, right guys? Like, no, we've been protesting, that's not gonna happen. So the players can do what they're gonna do here and not have the added pressure of like, dang, I should be out there doing something else than what we're doing here. So I think that's probably the part that they didn't like really think about. Every Black person probably knew there's going to be another person shot soon, but I don't think the people like front office people in the NBA kind of like realized that part of it. But I think everybody kind of knew what was up ahead, and I'm sure I would hope they would have done different studies. We just did the Equal Justice Initiative stuff and talked about people that were in prison for 20 plus years for crimes they didn't commit. I get if you committed a crime and you know you're going to go to prison and experience this kind of life, but we're talking about people that were in prison for 20 plus years and they were innocent. So I think the whole aspect of like, okay, you're in for a couple months isn't going to be that big of an issue to most people. But yeah, of course it's going to wear on you a little bit, but they're all strong, positive men giving themselves positive affirmations. So I think the NBA knew that they'd, you know, rally together and be okay, and obviously give them this opportunity now to have family and friends join the bubble, because they know it is hard to go, you know, 60 plus days without your family and friends around.
But look at all they've gone through too in the bubble. I mean, they had to re-grieve the Kobe thing, you know, because we had Kobe Day, and you have to do that inside the bubble. You're not able to drive around LA and see his memorials or things like that. You're not able to go and hang out with Vanessa. Chadwick Boseman died. We know he was close to a lot of people in the NBA. We have another shooting, and like they have all these things that are just piling up on them, and they don't have an outlet like we have to just kind of reach out and maybe go, like I said, take a drive. You know, they've gone through a lot. I don't want to downplay, you know, the fact that they've gone through. I'm glad, I get it, how we look at it. Like, you're in there playing a game that you love. It can't be that bad. But I don't want to downplay being trapped inside your own mind kind of in this bubble. It's a lot.
Yeah. And then only, like, to your point, to only have social media, you know, like, which we talked about on Friday, like,
getting off of it.
Right. More depressed. That's their only source to like the outside world at this point. Yeah. And it's all negative on social media right now.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that to your point, Jackie, I mean, you can make life in the bubble as comfortable as possible, but you're still stuck in a confined space. So you could have all the video games, the pools, the, you know, catered meals, whatever it is. But after a while, that kind of thing, it loses its like excitement, the adult summer camp feel that we had talked about when this all started. So, but yeah, luckily they are going to have family and select friends be able to join them later. And Chris, my question for you is, do you think that that's going to positively impact the players' mental health in a big way? Or do you think that's just going to be a small added benefit, but they're still going to struggle with being in confinement like that?
Well, we joked about it, but in all seriousness, like we say all the time, it really matters who they bring in the bubble. I think that is the biggest part to answer that question, because, you know, there's dudes that could play the game where, you know, they're bringing in a side piece, but they're going to play like they've been together for forever. And cool, you might get that, you know, instant gratification. Good for you, my guy. But then what? You know, compared to a lot of these other guys that are probably going to be bringing family that are going to be coming in, or some guys are just bringing in their boys just so they have that, you know, person to, you know, lean on and go to and stuff like that in like face to face. So I feel like it depends on, you know, the player themselves and who they bring in. And I think if they bring the right person, it'll help. I don't think it'll entirely fix the entire situation because they're still in the situation they're in, but it will definitely help, and it'll, you know, bring down the, you know, the not the need, but the feeling of missing out. What's it called? FOMO. There you go. Because you got the homie or your family, especially, you know, the guys with families that are gonna be right there with them, so you can see them and touch them and be close with them.
Yeah, for sure. And they
on the
also,
player.
we talked about, what was that, Chris?
I just said, but it depends on the player because we know there's a lot of idiots in the league. So some of these guys might be wasting that ticket.
Yes, that's a good point. Well, luckily they do have those mental health professionals on site. We've heard some athletes have taken advantage of speaking with the counselors, so hopefully they continue to do that if they feel they need it. But you guys, that wraps up Need to Know News. So Chris, I feel like you have a lot to fill us in on in the world of social media, so take it away.
Oh boy. Yes, it is like we said, it has been a weekend, up and down, all over the place kind of weekend, and we're gonna get right into that here on Post Up with your boy Chris, Quarantine, and for now, Not Fuzzy edition. And we're starting off with the thriller that was last night, that game between the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. It went through exactly how I expected it to. Me and Jackie talked about it on the live on IG. If you guys came through, Denver came through, and now we're gonna have a game 7 between the two. And the Jazz just had a lot of moments that was going on throughout that entire game that just looked like they were all out of answers on what to do with not just the Nuggets but Jamal Murray. And it got to the point where they had lost the game. They gave up 50 points to Jamal, and Donovan Mitchell was pissed off. We had several instances of the Jazz players doing this. It was Rudy Gobert did the same thing, but we saw Donovan Mitchell post game after the game was over. He was knocking everything over, you know, high fiving his people, knocking down the bike. And the thing is, this clip might cut there, but there was more to it. He was out there knocking over hand sanitizer stands. He was doing all kinds of stuff backstage, and I'm sure that, you know, his room service bill is going to be a little bit higher this coming week. But yeah, he was very upset, and rightfully so, because Donovan Mitchell played out of his mind. He played great. There was a lot of hiccups for the team in general, especially down the line. You know, we saw Chuck go in on Quinn Snyder post game, which I kind of co-signed because they just let Jamal Murray be Jamal Murray. I understand he's going to be great regardless, but they didn't do anything to try and, you know, fix the situation. So I get Donovan Mitchell's frustration. Move on. Let's see what happens in Game 7 because, you know, they had it 3-1, and we might have another meme on our hands here if the Jazz are not able to hold this one out in Game 7. But moving off of that, let's talk about the team that did win, and that is the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, I had to publicly apologize to on Twitter because I have not been a Jamal Murray fan for the entirety of his career. I just thought he was very inconsistent, and he gets all this love like he's this all-star point guard when he hasn't really done anything. But look, he said, yo, Chris, shut the hell up, all right? Look, watch my game. And I've been watching it, and I'm pulling a Skip Bayless, and I'm over here like apologizing to him and saying, I hope you accept my apology, Jamal, because he's been playing out of his mind. And my biggest thing is, like, you can have a good spurt of games, but if you play well when it matters, like Jamal Murray's doing right now, that's I take my hat off to you and give you all the praise that you deserve because he is playing very, very well to that point where he even post-game after the game, because like I said, he had 50 points. He shot 70% from the field, where he even needed to take a moment to himself post-game. And this video was caught after fact, and he's there, you know, just collecting his thoughts and everything. And a lot of people could look at this, and you could think that it definitely had to do a lot with the game he just had, because it's probably emotionally, you know, taxing to go out there, play the game you played in an elimination game, 50 points, 70%. But if you didn't miss his post game prior to this moment, I believe that was a lot more than that, which is what I'm going to bring to for the next moment here on Post Up, because Jamal Murray had a Hall of Fame post game speech. He, you know, you could tell the emotions were there, and of course, I'm sure he was very excited. He didn't mention his game, you know, here and there, but it was more to just his game and more than what he did for the team that, you know, was really driving his emotions. for those who did not see, on his shoes, he had pictures of George Floyd on his left shoe and Breonna Taylor on the right. I might have gotten that mixed up, but he had, and they were dope designs. I'm not a fan of the Adidas Pro models of the shoes he wears, but with those designs, I would buy 5 pairs because they were really well done. But it meant a lot to him to have those shoes and what they meant, what the shoes and what the symbolism meant to him for this game. And he talked about that post game, saying this:
I just want to win. And in life, you find things that hold value to you, and things to fight for. And we found something worth fighting for as an NBA, as a collective unit. And I use these shoes as a symbol to me to keep fighting all around the world. So like I said, they give me a lot of power to keep fighting, and we want to win. I show my emotion, it comes out, so.
Yeah, I'm there. Look, Jamal Murray, you got a new fan, my guy. I'm late. I'll admit it, because look, I was very critical on you entire career. I'm with you. Like this whole entire playoffs, this post game, like everything. I'm with you, Jamal Murray. I apologize. I'm one to be very critical on you, and no more. Do you think keep playing? But I want to throw this to you, Jackie Ray, and no, not because it's Denver, but I'm just curious to hear what you have to say about just Jamal Murray as a whole in yesterday, from basketball to his message post game. What were your thoughts about all of that, just in whole, from him taking that moment? What were you thinking when you saw all of that from Jamal Murray?
I mean, I was kind of just taken by the whole display from start to finish of that game. You could see his raw emotion in that game. You could see his heart. And I don't think we really understood how deep it went in his heart until the post game. And to see him got choked up. And then he definitely got choked up when he was asked specifically about the shoes. And then it became like, we've got something bigger to fight for. And, Jamal has been tugging at my heartstrings for a minute just because of the way he played. But like last night definitely stole my heart completely. I think we were all grieving a lot of different things. And then playing, still having to go out there and play with that kind of heart and that kind of intensity. And I don't want to take anything away from Donovan Mitchell. He definitely had intensity too. But I think Jamal Murray was just playing on a different level mentally. And his heart was just in a totally different place. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, and like I said, but basketball, everything, like you said, he tied it all together yesterday, and we'll see what happens in Game 7. We'll see if Donovan Mitchell's able to, because he's been playing out of his mind too in this series too. They've been battling from that Instagram video we talked about on Post Up a few weeks ago. Yeah. They've been battling ever since that moment, and it's just been crazy to see. But yeah, Jamal Murray, just the entire thing, seeing the emotions coming out and not being afraid to show his emotions. We talked about that with Paul George, talked about that with other players, and to see that continue, like, I'm a fan of that, man. Feel how you feel. Let it be known. I'm with you on that, Jamal.
I'm excited for him because I feel like he's emerging as a true leader on that team, and I think that this emotion and this intensity is going to trickle down. I don't know if Denver's going to be able to pull it out, but definitely after that display and his speech, I'm definitely pulling. I'm pulling for Denver. I'm pulling for Denver, specifically Denver because of Jamal. But I'm pulling for him. Which is weird because that's a switch up for me because I've wanted it to be Rudy to have this vindicating thing, but that was just a powerful moment. That was a powerful moment for me. So I don't know.
Oh man, see, I'm still torn because my Donovan Mitchell's been my guy. So it's like, but at the same time, either way, I'm just glad we're getting a good series out of the two because I did not expect this coming from this series. I knew it was going to be good, didn't think it was going to be this good. So regardless, it's going to be fun. And one of them plays y'all, right? Who winner of this series plays you guys, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah.
Well, we got to.
So we go back to back.
I mean, I would love to have LeBron beat Denver. You know what I mean? Because I think that's That's
a whole different level of meeting right there.
That's a whole different level of thing. I'm petty enough to want him to beat Utah as well because I have my own animosity towards Utah. But I think it would be an honor to see Denver get that far.
You guys, Lakers aren't playing them. The Clippers will play the winner of this series.
So that's what I thought. So are they three?
Or the Nuggets
3 and 6.
So they'll play the Clippers. Yeah.
So
that's
we play.
I couldn't. Okay.
So
you were going to play either the Thunder or the Rockets.
Yeah.
See, West is
so we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing the Rockets. Let me just say that now. I don't care what number. So we'll be playing the Rockets, and then it'll come down to the Battle of LA, like everyone said. So.
I got me even more excited.
For this series, so I did pick the Nuggets winning. So I actually was surprised that the Utah Jazz took that 3-1 lead because I picked the Nuggets winning that series. So I mean, Game 7 I think is going to be good, but I wouldn't be surprised now if either team took it because I was surprised
whichever
the Jazz
one, right?
did so well. Yeah.
I said it would go the distance, but I didn't have an idea. Like I kind of wanted Rudy to, like I said, I wanted him to have this vindicating moment, but I had no clue who was actually going to win this series because I knew they were both going to come out like with all kinds of heart. I didn't think it was going to be like this, but yeah.
Nah, I said Nuggets in 6 because I thought they just had so much momentum going into the series. I thought Nuggets had it in 6, but I'm humbled. Here we go. I'm humbled twice. The Sixers got me humbled, and now I'm humbled. Damn Jazz. So I'll take that one too. But moving on to this next one. Speaking of series, this series may be over, but Boban still making sure that he gets on post up because this man's hands are ridiculous. Now, if I get the picture up, this is Maxi Kleber, who is his teammate, who is not a small dude. Maxi Kleber, I think he's 6'9", 6'10". He's one of their power forwards on the team. And Boban's hand, he's got him on the neck. If Boban put his hand on his face, Max, he would suffocate. That's how big Boban's hands are. Look how scared Maxi is looking at Boban like, I won't do it again, but please do not kill me. I don't think you know your strength. Like, this is insane. I saw this, and I'm so glad that we're able to talk about this here because it's just Boban's just trying to be like, yo, my friend. And it's like, yo, don't kill me, friend, because you got your hand on my neck. But anyways, yeah, that's insane. Boban is a big dude. So, so shout out to the Mavericks. You guys tried, but, next season, you guys were fun, though. It was a fun series. You guys put in a good little fight. But moving on from then to my guy, somebody else who got bounced, and that is my boy and his new team, Carmelo Anthony and the Portland Trailblazers. Yes, they had a great game 1, and then they never looked back. And I don't mean that in the right way because after 5 games, they got smacked.
The last game was great. What are you saying,
It was a phenomenal game. I'm just saying they only won 1 game.
Stop it. Give them some
credit.
Yeah,
100%. But I was one that was saying that. I had said that they were going to outplay everyone's expectations. I even said that they were going to win by 8 points, Jackie Ray, as my witness. Okay, so I knew the Lakers were going to win that game, but I knew it would be close. So no, all credit to them. I'm just sad that it's over. That's what I'm getting at, bro. I'm just upset that it's over.
But you knew it was going to be over at some point.
I don't care. I just wanted it all the way. They were just so much fun to watch in the bubble, and regardless, either way,
you wanted a 10-game series.
I wanted this thing like the winner just gets to go straight to the finals. I just wanted him to keep. The Blazers was just so much fun to watch. But yeah, it had to come to an end. And my boy Carmelo Anthony, I'm really hoping that as much as we had all these rumors about him coming back to the Knicks, going to Denver to finish his career on a team he played for. No, I want him to go back to Portland. I want him to finish his career on a team that can possibly compete. I'm all here for that.
Denver can compete. Anyways, clearly, Denver can compete. It would be dope if he went back to Denver and finish where he started. Come on. Why? What's the haterade about? What's wrong with Denver?
Let's do a young team.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the nostalgia of him starting the way or finishing the way he started. Like, bookend this career and go to a team that's got this kind of momentum already.
So you got to grow the.
He damn sure can't go back to the Knicks, though. I mean, it's either stay where you are or go to Denver.
Phil gone.
No, he can't.
Phil gone.
No, he can't.
No, Phil gone. We will take him with open arms, man. Come on back. He's gonna come back. It ain't gonna be much heat for RJ Barrett. Okay, move on. We're not talking about the Knicks. We're talking about Carmelo Anthony because the moment of that series was not even the game. I mean, we're gonna talk more about that game back and forth later on. But was Carmelo arriving back in Portland? My man came back in style. This is the whole move. We saw pictures of everybody getting off the plane, all happy, and then you see my man Melo with a glass of wine, got the whole bottle in the same hand. And this man is a whole mood. I love the hat, the nobody's with the Blazer logo, the stay mellow, staying strong. It hurts. That's my guy. But, like Britt said, he played great. The Blazers played great in that last game. They put up a good fight even without Damian Lillard. But shout out to the Blazers. Shout out to the Lakers for still, flexing that muscle, reminding us that they are the number 1 overall seed. So can't get mad at that. But we got that dope moment to a cute moment between, I think, the post-up's favorite NBA kid, and that's Deuce Tatum because he saw his daddy playing in his first game of the new series, or the second round, excuse me. Because I gotta say it every time. I'm gonna make sure I let y'all know the Celtics swept the 76ers. So Deuce hasn't been able to see his daddy play basketball for quite some time, so he missed it. So he's just so excited to see daddy back on TV. Oh yeah, he's still playing basketball, daddy. But it was an adorable moment. I joke, but Deuce, take it away. It was just cute to see how excited he was to see his daddy. Here's that video. That's not Deuce.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It worked out perfectly. That's not Deuce. It worked out perfectly. Like, oh, this ain't my moment. There he is. Come on. I know you can't read, but if you can see Daddy's stats too, he's out there representing for you too, little Deuce. Like, he's out there killing it too, man. So yeah, that's an adorable moment, man. Deuce is just adorable. Every time he's brought up, I'm glad to talk about it because that was a cute moment. But going from one cute moment to another, we have to go back. Like I said, the duel that was the duel everybody was looking forward to between LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony is over, and with the two of them showed each other some love after the game. Now, hopefully LeBron James, if we can get that video up, hopefully LeBron James is dapping up LeBron, dapping up Melo, and he's saying, "I'm sorry." He's saying, "My bad." He's saying, "I got you next year." I hope he's saying something around those lines because of the debacle that is him bringing in Jared Dudley over Carmelo Anthony. I'm never going to live that down. I'm still salty about that, okay? I'm glad that he found his home. I'm glad Melo is with the Blazers because I feel like, that is the home for him. It makes a lot of sense for him, so I hope it's whatever. But I'm still salty that, LeBron couldn't, be like, "Yo, my guy, I believe in you, even though the world is not. But we're supposed to be friends." Anyways. Regardless, it was a dope series. LeBron and Melo went toe-to-toe in that same game. Regardless, it was just I'm just so upset it's over. But dope moment between friends, and we just got to appreciate that moment because it happened still right now. All these years later, they're still going at it like, they're still young, and it's really cool to see that. But anyways, so you kind of saw this next video. We go show you guys Cardiac Kemba, who let his New York show a little bit. Now, for those who may not know, Kemba is from New York City, and if you didn't know before, you're gonna know by seeing what he slipped up and said on camera, and he caught himself because he realized he was on camera. But Kemba Walker was talking to one of his teammates, and he gave him the good old fashioned "F out of here." But it was caught on camera, and watch his reaction to seeing that he was caught. Oh.
So cute.
Yeah, that was dope, man. The Celtics went out and destroyed the Raptors in that game, but Kemba, Cardiac Kemba showed. So here we go. We have a little bit of Luka stuff to talk about here. We're starting off with Luka out here. I don't know if J.R. Smith wrote a book while he was in the bubble, and if he did, and if Luka read the book, if what I would title it was Earl, the Henny God. That's the name of the book. And I think Luka got himself a copy because a lot of people, according to this dude right here with this video, I'm listen to the voiceover. He thought that Luka was handed. There it is. You thought Luka was handed a bottle of Henny. It obviously was probably like some iced tea or something like that. But my man, this voiceover is hilarious on this. So if we can get this video with sound, it was so funny.
They done gave my boy the Henny. Yeah. Yeah, he got the Henny now. Oh.
Did he think that was going to help? Why are you so excited about that?
It's for the pain.
Okay, gotcha.
It's for the pain of being the last game. Nah, but you don't understand. The comment sections were so wild with this. They're like, Luka need the Henny so he could be on an even playing field with everybody else on the court. I was like, yo, these comment sections are so wild. Like, let the Clippers have their shot. Like, they're out there outplaying them. Don't be trying to bring Luka down just because he's losing the series. But yeah, no, Luka, that's obviously not Henny. I mean, where are all those bubbles coming from? Have y'all drank Henny before? Like, what the hell is going on there? But anyways, the joke is funny. Ha ha ha. I laughed. Ha ha ha. No sponsor by Aquafina, by the way, because that thing was nice and proud. It was showing right to the camera. Aquafina, no sponsor. But yeah, so Luka Doncic with his little Henny on the sidelines. But sticking with Luka Doncic, we had another little mix-up between him and my guy Mook, a.k.a. Marcus Morris. And let me tell you something. Marcus Morris, if you didn't know that he was old school before, we've showed you all the clips, and these are just from this season alone, from the accidental, I say in quotations, stepping on his Achilles, to the basketball, to Justin Anderson's head. we have to remember this is all in one season alone. Marcus Morris got a whole list of moments that he has shown that he is definitely old school, and this was another one of those moments where in probably early 2000s, definitely in the 90s, this would be called just a regular foul. We'd have a little scrum, shooting free throws, and we keep it going. But we know we are in 2020, and Marcus Morris got in Luka's head, gave him a very hard foul, leading to Marcus Morris being ejected or getting flagrant 2 and then being ejected. And of course, as you'd expect, after the game was over, the question was asked to Luka, how did he feel about Marcus Morris? And in that moment, and he said this quote, he said, "I really hoped the first game wasn't on purpose, but looking back at the foul this game, you know what I think? I don't want to deal with that kind of player." Well, if y'all don't know Marcus Morris, he's a very, very petty player, and he came right to because this was posted by Bleacher Report, and he went right into the comments, his whole name and everything. No burner account. This is Marcus Morris coming in there saying, "Cry me a river, Clips in 6." I'm sorry, I'm a fan of it. I'm here for all the petty. I'm here for all the. Maybe just because I still have a warm spot for my boy Marcus Morris, but I'm here for all the petty. I love it. He got the last laugh. I'm sorry, Luka. And it's funny because on top of this, right after the game was over, we had Mark Cuban saying himself that the Mavericks are going to be looking for dogs in free agency this year because his team, and I quote, he said it, is too soft. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, you might not like it, but Mark Cuban calling you guys soft, you guys might need a little bit of muscle on your team because you saw how you guys got punked a little bit the minute that the Clippers were like, all right, we got to turn it on, because once they turned it on, they turned it on. And even in that moment, too, like, the whole hold me back guys, I feel like the Clippers were holding back anybody more so than anybody on the Mavericks when, you know, Luka was about to go and fight. The only reason why, I don't know. I have my thoughts on it. You know how I feel about the Mavericks, but regardless, you know, Luka Doncic is upset about it, but I'm here for the pettiness from Marcus Morris. So keep that coming, and I'm sure it's definitely going to keep going, especially if we get that Lakers Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. We might get a Morris versus Morris battle. Here's hoping. Anyways, but moving on from that. Damn, I don't want to talk about this one. I really don't. So as we mentioned earlier in the show, this weekend was rough. We lost. It felt like every day somebody else was lost, and it unfortunately started with Chadwick Boseman, who a lot of you guys, a lot of the younger fans probably would, you know, and more so for his role as Black Panther. You know, a lot of us would know him for all of his roles. This dude, his entire resume was of Black excellence. This dude, every role he played was impactful to just not him as an actor, but us as a race, as Black people. You know, he put on for us in Hollywood, and in every role he was casting in. So his passing was it was rough. It was very rough in so many ways, shape, or form. He was definitely the definition of a king, especially in the realm that he was in, as well as what he was going through since 2016, and still going through the body changes and doing everything. I can go on and on. It was really emotional. With everything that went on with Chadwick Boseman. So rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. And LeBron James, who even when Black Panther came out, who had a handshake while he was on the Cavs, which was the Wakanda Forever salute before the games when the movie came out. He also paid tribute before said Game 5 with the Blazers by, you know, giving the Wakanda Forever salute during the national anthem. And it was dope. You know, I feel like, you know, the NBA, you know, showing him love. And then we also had, oh my God, the death of Cliff Robinson, and today we're talking about. It was just a lot. It was, you know, it was a crazy weekend, emotional weekend, very sad weekend. But this is a dope moment from LeBron. All the outpouring, you know, all the love to the family and everything. It was rough, but to see that was a cool moment. It's crazy because you guys can't even see it because this Fumble thing is blocking it. But right above it, if you go watch any of my videos, I got a big old Black Panther right behind them. I got like 5 Black Panther pops, and then right there I got my Black Panther mask on. So I've been a fan, and it was more so pushed over the edge too when Chadwick had taken that role. You guys have seen the mug, so it was rough. A lot of different ways. For, like I said, he was just he put on for us in Hollywood. Black Panther aside, even that, you know, being, you know, one of the most I can't even say well-known, because Black Panther is probably not the most well-known Black superhero, because even before that, a lot of people probably didn't even know who Black Panther was. But because of him, now you do. And then, like I said, playing Jackie Robinson Day and to pass on Jackie Robinson, or playing Jackie Robinson and to pass on Jackie Robinson Day, killed it and get on up as James Brown, which is
Brown.
probably one of my favorite movies by him. It's just rough. It was rough. It was a rough
Thurgood
weekend.
Marshall and yeah.
God, he killed it at Thurgood Marshall too. It's rough, man. It's rough. But yeah, rest in peace to him. Prayers to his family. And to everyone else that we unfortunately lost this weekend. Crazy. But on that note, I would like to move on and yeah, done with that. But let's go sticking with LeBron James. We'll talk about his son because he had some good news over the weekend. We've been talking about him streaming and, outside of basketball, he's been doing a lot of the gaming. I mean, he's been gaming. He's been doing the Fortnite thing. I don't watch him like that, but I know he's been out there in the scene doing his thing. And he's solid. He's really good. He's been playing Warzone, doing all that stuff. We saw him recently on 2K. But Bronny got the nod from one of the biggest gaming clubs in the world, and that's FaZe Clan, who picked him up over the weekend. And now we can't be calling Bronny James anymore. We gotta call him FaZe Bronny because he's part of FaZe Clan that also has the likes of Ben Simmons, who they just picked up, Myers Leonard, who they just picked up from the Heat. And he's a high schooler getting picked up. I'm not gonna say he's the youngest. I know they have another. I don't know her name, but they have a whole catalog of great players. For them to pick up Bronny was really cool. It was, there's a lot of backlash back and forth because people think that just because he's LeBron's son and blah blah blah. He's solid at what he does. But anyways, congratulations to Bronny for that. FaZe Clan released this tweet saying he's got now, because it said next, cross that out. Join us in welcoming Bronny James to FaZe Clan. He's excited about him. This man just out here. I want to say following Dad's footsteps because he's not just labeling himself just as a basketball player. He's doing it all, and already at the age that he's doing it at, shout out to him. I feel like it was earned. I'm cool with it. So congratulations to Bronny, and we'll see how that goes for you long term with that. So shout out to FaZe. I almost called him Bronny James. FaZe Bronny. Go ahead. Last but not least, I want to end with a little bit of a smile because when you see this and who it was and what team he played for and how much money he put on this, we're all going to have a nice little chuckle. All right. So everybody who, plays professional sports, they are very excited about that next step, all their hard work. Everything that they put together, the dedication, the blood, sweat, and tears, the missed dances, the, missed time hanging out with friends, blah, 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 just to reach that goal of playing professionally, the sport that you love so much. And then, you hear stories about, buying houses for your mom, buying a car for your parents, taking care of your parents. Well, maybe Mekhi Becton of the New York Jets did that. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Mekhi, who I just want to mention is a rookie on the New York Jets, who spent $400,000 of his rookie contract on this. Leo, can we play? Can we get this little video? No sound. This man out here on his Kevin Garnett impression, thinking that he is the big ticket. And admit, I'm not a fan of ice and jewelry and stuff like that, but it's dope. But just seeing who it's coming from and knowing that you ain't even play a game yet, we don't see no preseason, so we don't even know if you're gonna live up to what you think that you are. But this man out here got the big ticket. Can we get the next picture of him cheesing because he's so excited about it? Look at him, big old self smiling like that. But this man spent $400,000. $400,000. That's too much money, my guy. Britt Johnson, you're not mad at the piece, or you're not mad at the whole situation?
I'm not mad at it because of the simple fact that it is actual jewelry, gold, diamonds. That is valuable. Right. Even though it's a dumb necklace maybe or whatever, this, that, and the third, that is value that he has put on his neck. So it can, I mean, we all know jewelry gets melted and you can put it into other things. So it's not like somebody has to buy that piece like that, but it's better than buying cars. It really is, because cars depreciate in value. He actually bought something that is valuable. So if he loses all his money, he has that and can go sell it and make a lot of money with it, So I'm not really that mad at it. Like, I would prefer doing that than having guys buy, like, they say the average rookie buys 6 cars his rookie year, and usually he'll give some to his family, buy some himself, and cars are the #1 most depreciated asset you can purchase.
Right.
And so I'm glad that he's not walking around in a Maybach right now. I would rather him get a necklace like that. So I'm not that mad. Yes, it's $400,000, but he was, I mean, what were they? He was like probably 10, 11. Like I think he was like a 10 through 15 pick. I don't remember his exact pick number.
He was top of
the first round, like he was still top of the first round. So
he was making good money.
He signed a contract, and I'm not mad at something that's going to add value. and continue to
See,
add
Britt,
value.
and that is why I was going to come to you first, because I needed you to talk me off this list, because I'm just looking at this like, my guy. Like, play a game first before we talking about calling you the big ticket. Like, I understand it's the Jets. It's not too hard to be the big ticket for that team because we don't know who the big ticket is going to be for that team. But at the same time, I was just like, man. But you're right. You're right. Better than the Cards. So I'll hold that. That's the other thing. Look, but he's a big dude. He's all 6'7". I don't know if anybody trying to snatch anything off of his neck. Yeah. So I think he's safe with that. But anyways, on that note, right. He don't need exactly. But on that note, that's it for me here on Post Up.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Now, Jackie, tell us what we not gonna do. Yes.
What we're not going to do is laugh hysterically when he loses that big ass chain in Vegas one night, and then but anyway, because that's coming. It's just not smart. But anyway, let's get into what we're not going to do, because this one is very interesting to me. I don't know if you guys saw it, so we're going to kind of dive into it right now. But I personally believe, this is just my personal belief, I believe if you call the police on Black people unnecessarily for something stupid, then you're doing so because you know the trend of what's going on and you're hoping that something vile and detestable happens to that person. It is unnecessary. So, for example, if someone is moving into a new community, obviously they are a new homeowner, a new tenant, new resident, whatever. If you don't have their name on the list, that is not a reason, in my opinion, to call the police. It's a reason to do your due diligence, ask them for their paperwork, maybe call a broker, a realtor. Somebody knows that this person is supposed to be there. If they have keys that actually work to that home, maybe somebody dropped the ball and they just didn't get on your list. But it's definitely not a reason to call the police. But that's what happened to Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, as you know, is a 6-time Pro Bowler, former NFL wide receiver. He was moving into his new home, and then this happened. Leo, can you roll that video?
Problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. I come here, you feel uncomfortable. My first day moving into my new house, because my name's not on the list, you call the cops. Now you call the cops. No, you're not trying to do your job. There was no threat for you to call the cops. This is what we're seeing every single day. I got 2 kids in the car right now. We're in Weston, Florida, one of the most affluent areas. Yes, I know there's other Black people live here. I know that.
I don't know why he had to say there's other Black people who live here. The fun fact, if anybody calls you racist, don't say I have a Black friend. That doesn't help your case. It makes you look that much more stupid. So that's just a fun fact. Don't say there's other Black people who live here. That doesn't mean that you're not racist, because on this same post, another, which I believe is his wife or whatever, she posted they did the exact same thing to her the day before. So clearly they knew that they were moving in if she was there the day before. He also posted on his IG, he said, this is real. He said, I was so disappointed in myself for getting so emotional with my kids in the car, but then I realized being numb isn't an option anymore, #vote. So sadly, I think that he had to get this emotional, and I think that it is important that his kids see this exact situation, because I think, unfortunately, his kids need to know what kind of world they live in, the battles that they're going to be up against going forward. So as far as I last checked, at Showtime, this man was not fired. I don't even know if he's been reprimanded in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but he's still employed as far as I know. Devin, when you look at this and when you see this guy call the police instead of trying to verify via paperwork or a phone call that Brandon Marshall was supposed to be there in the world that we live in, and he decided to call police instead, do you think he should lose his job?
I think that calling the police for this instance was way out of line. And I think that he either needs to go through some crazy new training or lose his job, because to me, we've seen how the police respond when they're called to, confront a situation that involves a Black person. And when you do that, you know that you're setting up a situation that could result in a fatality or violence or whatever. So I think that it was irresponsible, because if this guy's just trying to get into his new home, why does that need to be something that the police get involved in anyway? He wasn't threatening them. He wasn't charging at them. He wasn't waving a weapon around. It was way overkill. And to me, it's so out of line. So yeah. I don't know. I think there needs to be a huge change that happens. That was just completely uncalled for.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a sad situation. Unfortunately, I've been in a situation similar to that where I was trying to move into my new apartment. I had my keys, I had my remote, but I didn't have my lease with me. It took me 40 minutes for me to convince this white doorman that I was supposed to live there. Ridiculous. Thankfully, he didn't call the police on me, but quite ridiculous. But let's move on to this next one because we talked about this, I think, on Friday last week about the San Jose Sharks forward, Evander Kane, who is now the co-head of the Hockey Diversity Alliance, and how disappointed he is that the NHL hadn't made any real statements regarding this social movement that we are on right now regarding racism and these types of instances in our country. So because of that, the Alliance now has a list of initiatives that I kind of want to read to you guys. They want the NHL to implement these initiatives immediately. Some of them I think are great. Some of them I'm like, I don't know. So I kind of want to get your opinion on them. So Leo, if you could throw that up. This is their list. They want team owners to offer NHL rinks as polling stations. They want black suppliers should deliver at least 10% of the NHL procurement expenditure by 2020-2021 season. They want the NHL to spend over $100 million over 10 years to battle systemic racism. The NHL to put the HDA logo on the ice rink. That's the Hockey Diversity Association. They want that on the ice. And then they want black warm-up jerseys to raise funds for the HDA. And then they want temporarily to change the blue line to a black line. So some of these I think are good. I would love to actually see if they're going to demand stuff. I would love to actually see them demand that in the inner cities of each of these cities where these teams are from, that they put an ice rink in the inner city and then have like leagues that kids can come in and join for like minimal cost, because I don't know how you're going to change the narrative and get more diversity when you're not even in the communities that could lend you the most diversity. So I would love that to be implemented. But the only one that kind of was a head scratcher for me is the changing the blue line to a black line, because I'm not sure that that's going to be noticeable enough. I don't know how I feel about that one. Chris, how do you feel about changing the blue line to a black line? Is it a stretch or does it make sense to you?
It's a hell of a stretch. I'm here thinking, I'm like,
Right.
I don't understand. Like, cool. I'm glad that other things put together here, but like that one to me, I'm just like, I mean, I don't know what much of a difference that's gonna be. I'm glad you said it too, because I'm sitting here like maybe I'm alone on this one. I don't understand what that would really do differently. So yeah, no, I'm with you. That make no damn sense.
Yeah, I don't know if they think, well, maybe if they're saying, okay, we know the history of the NHL, so let's just do these little baby steps. Because I don't know if I would even notice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it would even make...
Like, cool. I get the gesture, but I don't think I would have noticed. I would not have noticed until I saw on social media and someone be like, oh, look what the NHL did. I'm like, oh, they did that. I didn't know that. I would not have noticed.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I get it. It's a definitely uphill battle with the NHL, so maybe just ask for little things. I still think if you're going to ask for stuff, you ask for the big ticket items and let them talk you down. It's like when you're negotiating your salary, ask for this much, knowing you'll probably get this, So I don't know. I thought that they could have done a lot better on this list, but hopefully it's a start. I don't really have any opinions on it outside of that. So
it's a list. We've been saying that all the time.
It is a list.
You're right.
It is a list.
It's a start. It's a start.
You're right. All right. On that note, that's all I got for what we're not going to do. So now it is time for Brit's takes.
Brit's take.
All right, guys, we talked about it early in the show about how players have been in the bubble and moving forward. Today, you guys, is the day. It is August 31st, so this is actually the very first day that families will technically be allowed to be cleared of quarantine. I know last week when we saw Dame get on the plane and he already had a son, they're like, oh, did you fly your son there to then come back? No, his family was actually already there quarantining to get ready in case they got moved to the second round. So a lot of people's families have already been quarantining for the last 2 weeks in anticipation for the second round of the playoffs. And today is the first day that we will see some family members that will be cleared and able to join their player that they have in the bubble. If you guys don't know, it's going to be obviously second round only. So technically there's still 10 teams in the bubble because we're still waiting for the Western Conference winners of the Jazz and Nuggets game, and then obviously the winner of the Rockets and the Thunder game. Eastern Conference is set to go, so they've all moved to their second round now. But total, there will be 8 teams that will be obviously allowed to have families in. Each team is going to be given 17 hotel rooms. So this means each player only has 1 hotel room for whoever they're having. So it's not like you could put your friends in one and then your family in another and, you know, have a mix of different things, because you can have 4 people total, but that does not include children. So say Savannah comes with their 3 children. LeBron technically had 3 other spaces for more family members to come because the kids don't count, but you are still only given 1 hotel room. So I'm assuming LeBron probably would bring his family and then maybe his mom. He said he's missed his mom a lot during the bubble and stuff like that, and just put them all into the hotel room that they're given. But yeah, so that is how it's going to work. Each player is only getting 1 hotel room and up to 4 guests, not including children. So children will be not counted against their 4, but they will still only get that 1 hotel room. So today is the day, but I have questions. So obviously we talked earlier in the show just a little bit, just a reminder about Paul George, what he said last week and how he's, you know, been depressed in the bubble. LeBron James has said he thinks about going home every single day, not just to go fight social justice, but because he misses his family. And tons of other players have said that as well. And we've seen it. Some players, it negatively affect them on the court, like Paul George, but we've seen some players actually do extremely well against all this adversity that they're going through inside the bubble. And sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes players need those situations of, you know, being cooped up alone and they're fighting through something, like we saw with Jamal Murray. He literally played one of his best games yesterday because he said he was fighting through something and using that momentum to play out on the court and be great at basketball on the court, right? So with the bubble now, with teams going to be allowed to have their family members and stuff in the bubble, this is going to mean that they will now have fans in the stands. We talked earlier about, you know, some people in the stands as fans and just kind of be more quiet. But then you might have people that will be like me and Jackie and screaming at the top of our lungs if we were inside the bubble. So it's going to actually play a huge role on the momentum, I think, on the court, and then obviously their mental off the court. My question is, could this negatively affect different situations with the Black Lives Matter movement? I know maybe just having your family around and being, you know, in a situation where you're around loved ones and stuff, that could make you not care less about the Black Lives movement, but it be less important in those moments just because you're worried about your family more and just making sure everything's good there. And you don't have as aggression as you do if you're just by yourself, hanging out with just your teammates and stuff for the last 50 plus days. And now you're in a situation where you have your little daughter with you and you kind of want to focus more on that. And then lose momentum with this Black Lives Matter movement inside of the bubble. We could see different things as far as how players are playing on the court. It could positively affect them. It could actually negatively affect them, to be honest, because we have seen some really good basketball from some unexpected players in the bubble because they play better under those circumstances sometimes without any distractions or this, that, and the third. Sometimes it works better for some players. So, and then the fans in the stands, you know, sometimes we've seen teams like the Suns where it actually benefited them to have a situation where they were all playing together. They didn't have any fans in the stands and they went 8-0, the only team to do so. So I think we're going to see a huge shift in energy inside the bubble now. We're going to see a different momentum. We're going to see different teams, I think, step up and some other teams kind of fall behind based off of this. I don't know what team it's going to be, but we're really having the family here, yes, is a great thing. I'm sure a lot of these players are going to love having their family there. All of them are. Every single one of them are. But it could actually negatively affect their game. There is just that possibility and that ability or that chance for that to happen. My question is going to go to you because I know Chris had already, Devin had basically asked him the question early in the show. Do you think families will be a positive addition to the energy in the bubble, or do you think some of the teams and players could be negatively affected by now just having more of where they're not just honed in on basketball, they're honed in on some other things, including their family and friends that are now joining them in the bubble?
I say stick to what it is. You know what I mean? I think this whole changing stuff up now is negative. And that's been my thing from day one. I think I said that when we first talked about this, like you just said, if there's a person, like if you have a whole bunch of reserved people and then there's one me and one you, that's all you're going to hear, because we're going to be loud as hell, and then it's going to be hard to get us to tone down, because that's who we are as fans. You know what I mean? And so you and I in a stadium, we're fine. You and I by ourselves, we become stadium loud, and then it's just a lie, you know? So I don't know. I think that now that they've gotten, because it does take a certain amount of psyche, like you said, there's people like LeBron, I even think like Paul George, Kawhi, people who are used to that kind of pressure, playing under those kinds of people yelling at you, and probably Russell Westbrook too. He would love to be petty for somebody who's even yelling negative at him. It's an adjustment to now play without fans. And now you're going to have kind of fans. It's not like you're going to have fans. You're going to have kind of fans. So I said that from day one, like, yeah, give them a watch room. Like, they can be right there when they come off the court. That's fine. But as far as having them on the court, that's a no for me. Because I just don't think, now that I've made this adjustment, that I don't want to kind of adjust back. It's not a full adjustment back. So it's going to be a negative impact. So that's a no for me.
Yeah. And you'll see some, because I know there's been situations, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was James Harden. Matt Barnes had said something to James Harden's mom, because James Harden's mom was going off on Matt on the stands, and Matt didn't know that was James Harden's mama. That energy in the stadium is only one, and we just hear James Harden's mama, and we don't hear nobody else, because everybody else is more chill. It is just going to, like, it's going to give James maybe this advantage, but everyone else, it's just going to negatively, like, affect them and change the situation. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, because obviously we've already had a round 2 game, but today was the first day that families are going to be allowed to now watch these games and go to these games. So it'll be interesting.
I feel like today is going to be
totally different.
Yeah, I feel like today is going to be the first and the last day. I feel like all of a sudden the NBA is going to go, oh, this ain't working out at all. It's just kidding, because there's going to be that one family member that's going to be too much. I'm telling you. They're going to be like, hey, yeah, we're rethinking this, and that's a no. So it's going to be fun to see that.
Or if we remember Gabrielle Union, if D Wade was still in the bubble, like Gab Union used to tell her she had to sit back and not sit up close, because she was so loud, cussing not only the other players out, the refs out, like doing the most. And now you can hear the refs are going to hear what she says, and you're going to get a technical because of your wife.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be silent for a while, because you know it's that when people are cussing, it goes silent. So now you're going to hear because there's going to be that one fan, and I'm like, it should just not happen.
Yeah. This should be interesting to see whenever there's a round 2 game for the Eastern Conference today, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably happening there now.
If any of the players' families cleared today for the Eastern Conference, we should see the first game today with fans in the stands. So should be interesting. I'm going to keep a lookout, because I think it's going to be a total shift in energy and stuff with these teams, and just with the experience inside the bubble as a whole, and as far as the games are concerned. So I'm interested to see how it turns out. But that's it for Britt's Take today. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you very much, Britt. Yeah, things might definitely change. And I think that you were spot on when you were talking about how some of these athletes, without any other distractions, are just really zeroed in on the game. I think that they're doing better when they're uncomfortable almost. So we'll see. It'll be a toss. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up our show for the day. So we're going to be back again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, as usual. So tap the bell for notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. Subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, yeah.